have quite the large fall TBR. Let's talk about it today. Okay, so it's been a little bit since I've done a video, and I love a seasonal TBR. So I'm back with a fall TBR. So starting now, really until, I would say the beginning of November is like my fall TBR. I know that's not necessarily like how the actual months and seasons work, but you get what I mean. It's for the vibes, truly. Some of these have been on my TBR for forever. Some of them are newer releases, so I really wanted to try to get to both. So that is what we're going to be going over today. So I have multiple videos on my channel and on my TikTok. If you don't follow me there, you definitely should. It's Palettes and Pages, just like YouTube. And I do a lot of videos and talk about my like fall seasonal recommendations because I do have a lot of those. This is less of a recommendations video and more just a what's on my personal TBR. That's what I have time to do today and kind of what I was thinking of as I was just trying to like plan my reading for the rest of the year. I'm really excited for all of these. I'll try to talk about like how long some of these have been on my list to get to. And you tell me what you think I should prioritize, what I should do first. But first up, we're going to talk about The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Now, this one is actually based in like a summer camp. So I think I'm going to push this one more towards like now because it's still like summery out. Like it's not quite that like fall here where I live, but it still seems to have the vibes that I'm looking for right now, like a good, like twisty mystery. The only thing that's intimidated me about this one, it is quite long. So this is one that like I do feel like I'm gonna have to be in the mood for, and why I've kind of waited. But I've heard really good things. I know it won a lot of awards. I think it came out last year or maybe the year before. So this is probably gonna be like a more upcoming read for sure, like more recent. And one of the things that I wanted to try to do this year was get to more classics. So I thought, why don't I go for more of like a classic horror moment for fall? And I want to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This one also has a couple of other short stories in it. Obviously, like a classic tale. I don't know a ton about Jekyll and Hyde, so I'm very curious to see how it is. And again, I just would really like to get to more of the classics. So this one has Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is the Victorian London balance between good and evil. And the story was written in 1886. That's crazy. Another one is The Body Snatcher, inspired by the case of Burke and Hare. Markham, where a murderer meets a sinister smiling stranger. The Bottle Imp, The Ware of Hermiston. So a couple of stories in here that I'm interested in. Next, we have The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. This was gifted to me by my brother-in-law, I think last Christmas. So I really wanted to make sure to get to more books that were gifted and picked out for me. And I've heard really good things about this one. This one seems to give me like more of the cozy vibes, which is what I want during the fall season. I definitely have some on here that lean a little bit spookier. I'm still on the hunt for more horror. I don't have a lot of horror on my TBR, but this is kind of just like what I have like on my physical shelf that I want to get to. I'm definitely going to read more like audiobooks. And if anyone has any horror recommendations, my typical cup of tea is psychological horror is what I really like. But if anybody has recommendations for books like that, I am always accepting them. So, but this one is described as two strangers find themselves connected by a vast, mysterious library containing many wonders and more secrets. In this powerful, moving series opener from the international bestselling author of Red Sister and Prince of Thorns. I've never read anything by this author. So I love books about books and books that take place in libraries. So this seems really magical. Kind of reminds me of like Starless Sea, which is one of my favorite books. And next we have Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. Ew, it still has the Target sticker on it. This is by Shay Earnshaw. This is like a story of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, which if you didn't know this about me, one of my favorite movies. I love it so much. Please debate in the comments whether you feel like it is a Christmas or a Halloween movie. Personally, I watch it during both seasons because why not? But this is like a story based on like Sally when she becomes queen, and it's kind of like her story. So I'm excited to get to this. It's a shorter one. Definitely want to read that more around like Halloween time for sure. And then we have something I'm always in the mood for around this time is Dark Academia, which the Atlas 6 series is definitely leaning towards that vibe. I read the first one a few years ago and have been meaning to continue the series. So this one, the Atlas Paradox, is on my TBR for the season. If you aren't familiar with the series, I really, really enjoyed the first one. You're following a group of students who are accepted into this like society school. Each of them have a very unique, interesting power. And there's a lot of like psychological elements to it. Like they like fight inside of someone's mind, which is really cool. Like it really gives kind of like Inception vibes, which is one of my favorite movies. I don't remember a ton about the first one, so I might have to like remind myself what all is going on, but it's like a group of characters. I feel like the author balances all of the different character personalities and backstories and interpersonal relationships really well. So I'm excited to continue. Then we have The Children of Red Peak. This one also is high on my list to get to. My husband actually picked this one out for me when we were doing, I like to do this thing with him where I have him like pick out something for me and I just like, I have no idea what it's about. And he just like says like, here, read this. So he gifted this to me. It was very sweet. This one is described as very unsettling psychological horror, very intense. So that is something that I'm looking for. This is definitely more on the scary leaning side, which I'm excited for. I've read one other book by this author, Episode 13, which I did like. I know it didn't necessarily get the best reviews, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very interesting, very unique. But this is the description. David Young, Deacon Price, and Beth Harris live with a dark secret. They grew up in an isolated religious community in the shadow of the mountain Red Peak, and they are among the few who survived its horrific last days. Years later, the trauma of what they experienced never feels far behind, and when a fellow survivor commits suicide, they reunite to confront their past and share the memories of that final night. This kind of reminds me of Ritual, where I don't know if any of you guys have seen that movie, but it's a really good horror movie. This kind of gives me that vibe. So I'm really excited. I love like cult horror or like religious horror. I think it's very interesting. So this one is, oh, look, I even have my tabs already picked out. So this is close on the list too. I'm very excited to get to this one. Okay, and this is Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. This is the same author who wrote All the Dangerous Things and A Flicker in the Dark, which I loved both of those books. I haven't read anything else by her, but this just came in my book of the month pick. I think it literally isn't even out yet on the day I'm recording this, but it comes out very soon. This is about a girl who disappears. And from what I understand, it's like a Southern Gothic horror thriller mystery type vibe. Okay, and last on my list before I get to a couple other new releases that are coming that I don't have physically, this is The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. And this one takes place in 1975, so that's always fun. The Taylor family shatters in a single night when two teenage siblings are found dead in their own home. The only surviving sibling, Vincent, never shakes the whispers and the accusations that he was the one that killed them. Decades later, the legend only grows as his career as a horror writer skyrockets. I also love books about writers and about writing, typically. Ghostwriter Olivia Dumont has spent her entire professional life hiding from the fact that she is the only child of Vincent Taylor. Okay, so his kid. Now on the brink of financial ruin, she's offered a job to ghostwrite her father's last book. What she doesn't know, though, is that this project is another of his best lies, because it's not another horror novel he wants her to write. After 50 years of silence, Vincent Taylor is finally ready to talk about what really happened that night, which is cool because that sounds like she's like her dad is like telling his story through her, which is interesting. So that's my stack of books. But let's talk new releases a little bit more. Okay, a couple coming up that I feel like I've talked about before, but Calabasas by R.F. Kuang is one that I am so excited for. It is like a fantasy historical fiction romance that is like based and rooted in mythology. So a lot of like buzzwords there, but it's described as Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clark's Piranesi. And it's like dark academia. So that to me screams fall. That comes out on August 28th and I can't wait. We also have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, which is the author who wrote Divine Rivals. That is coming out on September 2nd. I will be reading that. Oh, okay. It got a cover. Very exciting. It's called Eternal Ruin. And it comes out on September 11th. The Immortal Dark, the first book, it is a vampire novel, and it's a lot about like the chosen one type thing, but I really like the way the characters are set up, and it has like that dark academia flair to it as well because she's in a school. Um, and the author is Tigist Gurma. And I really enjoyed the first one, so I'll be picking up that one on September 11th as well. So yeah, let me know what you're going to be reading off this list, or just in general, what's on your TBR, what's at the top, anything I should prioritize. Love to hear from you down below, and I'll see you next time.